All right, so this is the first time that I'm attempting to make a video like this. I hope that it doesn't completely end up as a waste of the time for myself and the viewer, more specifically the viewer, but it's an opportunity to show the differences between a photo book supplied by me and Miller's specifically, and also a photo album. Okay, so album, first difference, will come with a box. The book does not. Also, you'll notice that the book is pretty plain. Yeah, nothing much to say about that. I can spice up the book to look a little bit fancier and whatnot. However, as a standard, there are fewer options to customize the book as opposed to the album. These are actually just printed at random. There's no specific significance to either of them for the purpose of comparing and contrasting. I will try to outline the details of how I went about printing them regarding cover material, page type, page thickness, etc. But if there's anything that eludes me and escapes my mind, which there probably will be, I'll just leave that in some form of text, in some sort of description, depending on how you're watching this video for your reference, in case you happen to just really like, I don't know, whatever options are present. So first thing being first, this is a book, and I hope that it displays to some degree, I don't know, on video, as I'm being able to see it here in person. If not, I will grab the camera that I have rolling over on my left to kind of capture some of these details that I do notice. And just the white page here, in addition to the other pages, especially visible along the white borders. There's almost like a, for lack of better words, glittery, sparkly type look of some sort or another. I'll try my best to give a description as to how the different pages compare and contrast. But yeah, for the time being, these are just some of the images. Also, these are generally standard images that I try to capture, or something along this, like the lines here of these images that I'm displaying in both this book and the next. You know, on any given wedding day, granted, certain days just have different aspects to them that make it possible to capture some things and not others. Or for instance, certain things will just present themselves as being naturally more photogenic, and it might be like a one-time occasion to capture a photo quite like that. For instance, not every groom carries around his grandfather's Polaroid camera, and I don't know, gives us an opportunity to like snap some shots of him and the bride on the day of. This is also a wedding that was shot at Fernbrook Farms. A really fun wedding, really cool, and I had an awesome second photographer with me. I've described him as my mentor. So basically everybody who I've ever talked to him about, Devin, he's super cool. I love it when he accompanies me on the days. And yeah, this is a fun wedding that actually, speaking about him, he was assisting me in the second shooting capacity and helped me capture this particular shot by holding a light over top of the couple in such a way where I just couldn't capture anything quite like this myself if it was a one-man circus. But moving right along, this is a page where you can kind of get a better feel for how the paper affects the image. So you can kind of see, if I'm not completely mistaken, how there's a bit of a stronger reflection when I direct the pages towards the light that I have set up on that side of the camera. And when I turn it this way, you can see it's a little bit more of a natural, you know, look. The way that I'm seeing it is more of like a pearlescent type shine to it. Yeah. I don't know, I hope I'm not completely wrong there, because I will correct myself in some sort of comment or description. This is also a smaller book. I'll leave the size down below. I'm pretty sure it's like 8 by 10 or something like that. This is actually just a book that I'm giving as a gift to the couple. And also because I needed some sort of opportunity where I could, you know, test out just different printing options supplied by the print company with other print options that I have available, like in front of me. That way I can kind of just make like my own comparison, but also I'm throwing this video together so that way you guys can also see it. First off, thing to be said, white leather. I believe this is actual, like, real leather. It's not one of the faux leathers or vegan leather options. I did not do any embossing or custom cover printing and whatnot. You can tell here that obviously it looks a little bit different. Also leather. I don't know why. I lean towards that or the linen option myself. Also, I find myself leaning towards paler colors. A lot of the work that I do happens to be closer to the beach, but if I were to print an album for, say, a city wedding, Philadelphia or Jersey City, New York, whatever, then I might lean towards a darker color. But here we have it. Another leather option. This one has a custom, almost like an embroidery. It's called, oh, what is it called? I do know this. It's just escaping me at the moment. But, debossing. I'm not even sure if that's a real word, but that's the word that they describe it as, debossing. So that's what this is. So once again, this is just for personal use, but I actually, don't give me too much credit. I'm not trying to give myself too much credit here. Created this design myself with a lot of help from Photoshop and Photoshop's generative AI. But anyway, we've got the couple's name right here, date, venue, the columns. Love the columns, by the way. One of my favorite, if not my very favorite venue to shoot at. It's close. The people are awesome who work there. Yeah, just all time. Convenience of location, especially if you like beach weddings. Really tough to beat. Let me actually just put this here for better contrast. So, as I said, this is an album, this is a book. Probably from what you're looking at, you can't tell too much of a difference. Substantially heftier, I will say that. Has thicker pages. I mean, I could have gotten this in thicker pages as well, but there's just like more bulk to this. It feels like a heavier, like, you know, we'll say like a coffee table piece opposed to the book, which is really nice, but a little lighter. This one also comes with a much more robust feature set that you can customize. So let's see. Also, this is the longest book option that you can possibly get. I went into that not really, you know, with anything in particular in mind. I usually actually get square books for clients, and that works really well. But just in this instance, I was getting this one for myself and for kind of like the venue to share. And yeah, you determine whether or not you like it for yourself. It's a very elongated book. But here we go. I'll leave the dimensions for the size of the book somewhere in the description once again. I do like how this one kind of allows vertical photos to be presented more organically, I guess. Beautiful floral arrangements and whatnot. First look. Here we go. Just moving right along. And this is, I'm almost positive, I want to say the deep matte option for the page type, but it almost looks a little bit glossy, so it's got me second guessing myself that it might be just the E-Surface option, which is, sounds odd, E-Surface, but that's just the name of their standard, you know, photo paper print quality pages, and really nice, super crisp. I'd say that maybe there's a little bit more contrast here than opposed to the other page options, which were the silk ones. Yep, here we go. It also looks a little bit more visible with this light shining in the angle that it's positioned right now. To see this crease is what I'm trying to say. But when you don't have a very bright video light shining right at you in like a kind of like a 45-degree angle situation, then it's much harder to kind of like recognize the crease. It doesn't stand out as dramatically as it does in this video. Trying to think of what else needs to be said here. I would say one option that's pretty popular, this right here, the white exterior of the book lining, or rather the page lining, is a feature that you can customize on the albums, but not the books. On the albums, it's called gilding, and you can choose between black, white, silver, or gold. And this one probably would have looked really nice actually in hindsight if I did something more like gold, because it does I don't know, complement perhaps the embellishing on the cover and whatnot. Also, this is just an example of how you can go about adding text to kind of customize your keepsake. You could do it on the front right there. If I'm not mistaken, you can leave something on the inside page, perhaps towards the front, but I'm certain, if not, at least on the back page. And then, yeah, so I've actually had a client more recently do something with this, but obviously when it's not for personal use, they have it customized for themselves, and pretty clever. They already had, they're a very similar situation here with the name, the date, and the venue. So instead they just did a lyric or two, or like a song line to their wedding song. I thought that was really cool. Pages are also thicker here. If you can hear, there's kind of like a real like chunk feeling when you flick through them, opposed to the book. You could go with the thicker pages if I haven't already covered this, but just for the sake of it, I went with thin for the purpose of kind of being able to show and compare the differences. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I may not have covered so far, but both book shapes are ones that I typically don't choose for clients, or clients don't choose when I walk through the customization process with them. Like I said, square is kind of just the default, but I do really like these. This one being a little bit more typical, but vertical and smaller. And then this one being exaggeratedly long, we'll say. But with that being the case, still a decent size. So I'm pretty sure this is 12 by 8, if I'm not mistaken, or at least something along those lines. As I measure it here, I'm actually almost positive that this outside dimension measures 8 and that this measures 12. Just for comparison here, once again, this is 10 by 8 on the top. So that looks about right to me. Yeah, you can, once again, add custom details to the books, not just the albums. But yeah, it's a feature that I just chose to leave blank on this particular case, where I could essentially copy this same design, throw it on here. Nothing too detailed, because then it will start to bleed into like a puddle, and I've been advised by the professionals who work at this print company, they strongly suggested that I lean towards a bit of a simpler design, which was very kind of them, instead of just printing the design that I had issued initially and having it just looking like a puddled mess. So that's that. Once again, if there's any specifics that I forgot to mention, or even just, actually, I'll just leave the specifics pertaining to each album, yeah, in some sort of description, some sort of way. But really happy with the colors, very punchy and vibrant here, whereas these ones are perhaps a little bit more subdued. Actually, I'll throw this right here. You can see it a bit better perhaps against the contrast of the gray. But yeah, definitely a little bit more of like a glittery, like pearlescent, which looks really cool, especially in the black and whites. I like that. And like kind of these getting ready shots. I do like that a lot. The darker aspects of certain photos don't really look super dark here. It's kind of like muting the darker shades, like the blacks and whatnot. So for that reason, I do like it, because also, I don't know, I enjoy like not a super contrasty look in every photo. And like this kind of mellows it out. If that's anything that's helpful information, I really don't know. It's kind of tough to describe it in this way. And also, this is a better example of how when you catch the light, let's see, yeah, you can kind of see like right up here, there's a bit of like a glittery reflection, and it's really hard to like see the image when I hold it like this, but it's only because there's like that light off to the right, and it's really shining strong into this like reflective material that happens to be like, I don't know, I guess, yeah, it's pretty cool to see in person. I'm trying to find the words to describe it, but you can really see it on the whites of the image in person, when you have it held up kind of in contrast to a light, might just look silly from here how I keep swiveling it around, but there is really a sparkle to it. So different. I like it. Yeah, I don't know. Really fun wedding day, both of them. Actually, I've been super lucky. Every wedding has been super fun that I've worked. I have yet to have a terrible wedding day, so going to keep that trend going. And for the time being, I'll be collecting more albums, and hopefully someday soon I'll make another video. Just like this one, I might not have another comparison album by my side, but I'll just do a quick, I don't know, page through kind of, and do my best to leave a description of some sort that, at least from my perspective, I would find more helpful to have than to not have, because when you don't have the tangibility of like it in your hand, you can't really see how great like both of these are, and they really are like both incredible. I want to actually get a couple books and a couple albums are a little more expensive, but definitely a couple books and maybe an album or two for friends and family with recent, you know, gifts and photo journals of vacations that we've gone on and all that stuff, because they're both really great. And you know what? The best part about these, the images are not going to live and die on a hard drive. So I have full confidence that this would last, I don't know, 100 years if you keep it out of flood and fire. And the album is built super hefty, so probably even longer for that if I had to guess. But yeah, hope this has been helpful, and that's it for now.